materials, or we can also do a manufacturing activity at a plant level. So it plant does not mean that the manufacturing only. It may also have receipts and issues. Okay, but whereas under storage location, we will actually keep our material there in that. In the storage location, we actually keep our material there. Now, in order to have the configuration in place, I mean, whenever we are doing any configuration, we will be doing that configuration either from the uh, purchase organization perspective or at the company code perspective. Okay, we cannot do at a client level. In order to have this connected to our company code, we will have to do the configuration either at the purchase organization level or at a company code level. This purchase organization will be connected to our company code. And of course, plant is also connected to our company code. So the steps are mentioned in the Excel sheet what I have provided already. So these are the steps that are required in order to have the configuration in place. This is basic configuration with which we can go ahead and run our transactions. If at all you have, you know, intercompany transfers or stack transport orders, then we might have to do some other configuration pertaining to the side, pertaining to Okay, but these are the steps that are required as a minimum in order to do that, in order to do our cycle. Now, among them, I have completed all these except this the one, except this is the one. So, I mean, if you want, I will just run through all of them with a glance of it. Okay, let's go into first what we have here, the maintain purchase organization. So, enterprise structure, definition, materials management, and maintain purchase organization. So purchase organization I've created as 1248. This is our purchase organization. There is nothing, just a code with some description. And after that, we will have to do a plant. We will have to do a plant. Plant has to be created. Define plant. Double click on it. And here also I have created 1248. Okay, then after the plant creation, we will have to go back to create the storage location, maintain storage location. Just execute. Here plant is required. Our plant is 1248, and within that we have created a storage location. I've created storage location. So first is purchase organization, maintain storage location, and plant. Then valuation level. At, at what level you want to do your valuation from the material perspective. So normally we will maintain at a plant level. So that is what it is mentioned over here. Define valuation level. Just execute. Valuation area is at a plant. It means valuation area is nothing but a plant. Whenever we are dealing with the configuration on the side, many of the times we will not have a plant. It will say as valuation area. So at what level you want to keep your valuation area? You want to keep at a plant level or you want to keep at a company code level? But basically we will be doing at a plant level. This is default. This is basically a default. Okay, that's about the valuation is nothing but valuation area is nothing but our plant. Okay, take back. Next. So we have completed until here. Now whatever we have created, the purchase organization that needs to be assigned to our company code, and the purchase organization also to be assigned to a plant. We have created purchase organization individually, and we have created plant individually, but while creating the storage location we have considered the plant. So it means the storage location is connected to a plant already, but the plant is not connected to purchase organization is not connected to company code. That we are going to deal here in this. Okay, that's in the assignment. I'm going here in the assignment, materials management. Here you can see assign purchase organization to company code. Just execute. Now here our purchase organization is 1248 and it is assigned to company code. What does it mean? It means you can have multiple purchase organization for a particular company code. It means under a company code, you can have multiple purchase organizations. Okay. But the point here, what we are discussing is this purchase organization is connected to our company code. This way, our company code and purchase organization is connected. Next is purchase organization to plant. Plant has storage location. Now this plant is connected to our purchase organization. So just execute. The paths and everything is mentioned here in the Excel sheet. Just you can take a look. Now our purchase organization is 1248 and plant is 1248 and these two are connected. Just go to new entries and maintain the records. Back. Now assign standard purchase organization to plant. So this is similar to that of the earlier topic. So here we have our plant 1248 and our purchase organization is 1248. It is going to be a default kind of purchase organization for us. So for our plan, for our company code, this is going to be our purchase organization. Next, this is a reference purchase organization. That's fine. So just execute assign purchase organization to reference purchase organization. Execute. Here we have not maintained. This is basically the optional entry. Now you see here, assign purchase organization to company code is done. Assign purchase organization to plant is done. Next, assign standard purchase organization to plant. This is just now we have completed. Now, the next we have is plant is also assigned to company code. Plant is also assigned to company code. That is there in
And, uh,
the
and
logistics. Yes.
can you go back here? Yeah, here. I want to understand the difference between the assigned purchasing organizations to plant and assigned standard purchasing organizations.
This
They are
is a
same.
default. It is a default. It is basically a default. When you execute here, you can see a default purchase organization for our company code.
Yeah, but why
It's the
does it
same.
require a
It's the
default?
same. It's a just it for our company code. We are keeping this purchase organization as a default. That's it. It is again an optional entry, but it
Okay.
it is, in a way we will be maintaining here in this. It is
And
just like, default
yeah,
thing.
default, right? I understand that, but why that does, actually you said it is optional, but usually that it is not needed. Even if you don't define, because when you assign company code to company,
Mhm.
they don't ask for the default company code every time. Like if
Correct here, but they have mentioned it. Probably there could be some other reason as well, but
Mhm.
we are not sure about that part.
Okay,
Yeah, this basically the people can give you the right answer on
okay,
this. Okay, so that's about this one. When you go back to the logistic general here, we will assign our plant to a company code. Assign plant to company code. Our company code is 2000. Okay, our company code is 2000. For 2000 company code, plant is 1248. It is assigned. So that way, now what is happening here? This purchase organization is connected to company code. Plant is also connected to company code. Storage location is created to plant. Under the plant, this plant is again connected to purchase organization. So it is tightly integrated with our company code. So when we are posting any transaction from this perspective, from this purchase organization front, all will get updated to our company code because these two are integrated with this particular company code. Okay, that is what we have seen. Next, next is here maintain company codes for materials management. Here, this is the above one is basically, whatever we have seen so far, the entire thing is something relating to our organization structure. Now, there are few other tasks that are required to be done from the materials management perspective. So the first among them is logistic general material master basic setting, maintain company codes for materials management. Logistics general material master basic settings. Here maintain company codes for materials management. Okay, just execute or here it is locked. Okay, that's fine. So our company code is 2000. Our company code is 2000. Let's go and pick up 2000. So what I've mentioned here is the current fiscal year is 2019 and the current period is 4. Fiscal year 2019 and month is going to be, yeah, previous period. This is called previous month. So if you see here, this is called previous period and this is called fiscal year of last fiscal year and last posting period of the last fiscal year. And I just have entered fiscal year and period 4. These will come up automatically. Now the important point is this one, allow back posting. Why I'm saying allow back posting? Remember one point, in we can have at any given point of time we can have two periods open. It means when we are here in the month of April, we can able to post transactions pertaining to April and March. But the moment we close March period, it means April and May will be opened. April, May will be opened. It means you can able to post the transactions relating to April and May. The moment you close April period, May period and June period will open. So that is very important point from the materials management perspective. But whereas in finance, you can open n number of periods at any time, at any given point of time. Just all you need is just go to OB52 and you can open. You can open wide. It means from 2000 to 2999 year, you can do that also. All periods can be opened, but in it is not so. We have only two periods, and that too the last period is allowed based on this, allow back posting. It means with this it allows you to consider the previous period. It means it will allow you to consider two periods. It will allow you to consider two periods, either the previous year current year, previous period current period, or current period future period. It can be anything. So once you close one period, the next two periods are open. The moment you close January period, it means February and March are open. Whether you are there in February or March, that is immaterial to the business, but it considers only 2 periods at any given point of time. It means if I close January, February and April are open, it means system will not allow me to post any transactions pertaining to January or any transactions pertaining to April. System will not allow me to post any data, any transaction. Okay, this is one of the important point from the perspective. Any questions here? So you can see using one transaction, this transaction code is very important from the perspective. So MMPV, MMRV. MMRV gives you what is the period open. Now here 2000 I'm entering, our company code is this thing. See, current period is fourth period, previous period is third period. So these 2 periods are open. Last period in the previous period, 12, 2018, the same thing can be seen over here. The same thing can be seen over here. Now allow back posting. That is also here. Allow postings to previous period. Disallow back posting generally. If you select this, what happens is only one period will be opened at any given point of time. No, we will not have the second period. Okay.
Nanda,
So yeah.
right, like allow posting to the previous period, right?
Mhm.
But does that have any impact on the finance perspective?
Definitely, definitely.
Because like finance period has been closed, but this is open.
That
So,
no, 1 second. So in order to have the transactions to be posted in the previous period, both period, I mean, when you are doing the transactions from the side, even FI period also has to be opened. Without that, you cannot post.
okay,
But here the point is, see, one important point from the perspective of the finance, if you want any transaction to be posted, the relevant period has to be opened from finance. If the period is not open, whatever the transaction you post from any module, it will not get posted into finance. It means no accounting document will be generated. It means the transaction gets failed. Transaction gets failed, you will be able to create purchase order. Purchase order does not have any impact, so
correct,
it will allow you to create. But
correct.
if you want to run goods receipt or goods issue or invoice receipt, the relevant periods are to be opened both from the side and FI side. If
Okay.
one period is closed, it means from the side it is closed, but whereas from FI side is open, then it will also not allow us to create the transaction.
No, that is
Both periods
understood.
have to be opened.
That is okay, but my question is that that like let's say for my company, they close the previous month. After fifth, nobody can post on the previous period. But now in these configurations, you said previous period is open, like allowing posting for the previous period. So that time they will have a issue, right? Because this is something we need to consultant has to do it in order to.
Let me explain clearly. I have mentioned that part clearly, but anyways, let me explain it once again. Now here, let's say Jan, February, March. Okay, allow back period posting is there. Now here it is open, and here it is also open. Okay, open here, open here. It means you can post transactions February and March comfortably. There is no problem at all. Now, it is closed and FI is open. It means you can post FI related transactions,
Correct. Mhm.
direct JV transactions. But if you want to post transaction, goods receipt, goods issue or something, then since period is closed, it will not allow you to do that. It means no FI transactions also will be posted from the perspective. Any questions here?
No.
Okay. Now I'm opening this, but FI is closed. So when FI is closed, MM is open. System will allow you to post the transactions from the MM perspective, but at the time of accounting document, this transaction will have to get updated in finance. But system checks whether the period is open or closed from the FI perspective. When it is closed, it will not allow you to post the transaction from the MM perspective. From the MM side, even the relevant period is open. Got it? So it means in order to get the transaction updated, both periods have to be open. Then only it will allow.
Mhm.
Is it clear?
Yeah.
Okay. Next. So that is what MMRV talks about. So MMRV gives you what are periods open. Now the moment you close this period, then fourth and fifth will be available. So MMRV to view what are the periods open. MMPV, there is another transaction, MMPV, with that we can close a period. From company code to company code, enter next period, including fiscal year or relevant date, use current date or period, fiscal year or date. Which period do you want to open? Okay, so here enter next period including fiscal year or relevant date, but not both. You can enter either of these two. Check and close period, check period only, check close period only, allow negative quantities in previous period, allow negative values in previous period. So this is to close the previous period. I mean the period which you want to close, you can just enter that part. Okay, so check and close, normally we will select this check and close. We will enter the period to be closed along with the fiscal year, and once you execute, that's it. Okay, that's about MMPV and MMRV. So from the finance perspective, this is one of our important topics, this one. The next we have is material types, the same thing we have here in this. Logistics General, Material Master, Basic Settings, Material Types, define attributes of material types. Okay, material types. Define attributes of material types. Okay, so define attributes of material type, just execute. Attributes in the sense we have material type, we have different types, material types. How can we say right now, whenever I want to create raw materials, we have different types of materials. Raw materials, semi-finished, packing materials, consumables, semi-finished, finished, all these. So all these are differentiated differently, right? All these materials are differentiated differently. Now, when I see a particular number of the material, then immediately I should have some impression that whether this particular material is something relating to raw material, finished or semi-finished. How can you do that? Just you can have a different number range to each type of material. So for that reason, we have different material types. If you see over here, you have, you know, DIE and service, and you have ERSA spare parts, FERT FERT, then we have something else, ROH for raw materials, HALB for semi-finished. Okay, then ROH for raw materials, ROH for raw materials. Now I'm selecting the same thing, double clicking on the quantity and value updating. Now here for our valuation area, if you see here, it is called valuation area. What does it mean? Valuation area is nothing but our plant. That is what we have mentioned. So we have entered our plant and I said quantity updating, value updating. With this selection only, when you when you purchase any material, the goods receipt, when you are doing goods receipt, the quantity gets updated, value gets updated based on this check. It means whenever you're doing any materials movement, suppose if you are procuring the material, the quantity should be increased, the value also should be increased. That happens based on these checks. And when you are issuing the material, the quantity gets reduced, value also gets reduced because of this. It means on the whole, when you are dealing with any material movements, I mean receipt or issues, the quantity and the value will get updated based on this check. Okay, so that's about this part. And this is for ROH, and I have done for FERT also, finished material. Whatever the materials that we are going to consider, select all of them and just make sure to have this selected. Okay, so whatever the material types that you want to consider for all of them, this is what the transaction that you need to do. Next is define number range for each material type. Path is the same thing, just execute. If you see over here, you have all numbers. You have all different numbers. Okay, then here change groups, select that. Now here the assignment is going to be the same. I mean, you just have to, here it is mentioned as non-assigned elements. All you need is select this, select the assignment and assign to the relevant number. It's the same, number assignment is the same. If I just double click on that, it goes and sits in that relevant. So that way you can see our ROH sitting in somewhere. FERT is here. FERT has this, and ROH ROH also has the same. ROH also has the same. Okay. And one important thing in this case is, of course, here both material types have the same number range, but normally we will maintain different number ranges. Now, if you double click here on this, you can see a number range. The number range may be an external or internal. If you select as external, and while creating the metal master, you see here, it has a group. This number has a group. We have got 0102, both you have. And this is normal scenario in the case of materials. So the number range is 1299. And there is another number range also, A to all Z's. It is an external, whereas the first one is an internal. It means while creating the material master, if you don't enter any number, system will pick up from here. Or if you want to enter your own code, you can enter any code within this range, A to all Z's. It means you have two options. Either you can do external, or you can ask the system to generate. If you ask the system to generate the number, once you create the metal master, the range is going to be this. Within this range, system gives the next free available number. So next free available is 11. The moment you save it, number 11 will be generated, right? That is called the material code. Material number is 11. If you don't give, the number will be picked up from here. But if you want, you can give a number it should start with A and should end with Z. You can give any range, any number within this. That is going to be the external. Any questions here?
No, no, no.
Right. So that's about the material type and the number range. Next is here, these are little important for us, but not that much. This valuation class, these two are very important for us. Apart from allow back posting the period, this is the next important. These are the two other important, the transactions. Now, let us see this materials management, valuation and account assignment, account determination without wizard, define valuation control. Going into materials management, valuation and account assignment, account determination without wizard, and define valuation control. Just execute valuation grouping code active. Why it is important? This we will discuss little later. This valuation grouping is active. Why it is important, that you will come to know in the in further steps. Okay, so valuation grouping code is active, just saved. Of course, this is a default setting. Then grouping together valuation areas. That is the next step. Group together valuation area. So just execute here, and here our valuation area, nothing but our plant is 1248, and we have our chart of accounts is this. It comes automatically, and all we need is just to give a code for our valuation grouping. It is just a code that you will be giving. And remember this 1248 grouping code, valuation grouping code, which is used in further steps. So in the earlier step, we mentioned as valuation grouping code is active, and we have entered a code over here to our organization structure, to our plant, to our company code, to our chart of accounts. Okay, 1248 is my valuation grouping code. Just saved it. This is a default. All we need is just to enter this relevant code. Just to save back. Now valuation class. This is the important for us. The next two are important for us. So we will discuss this and the last two, and finally we will discuss this. I have not completed. This is basically our OBYC transaction. This we will discuss in detail once we complete these three steps. Okay, so materials management, the same valuation classes. What are these valuation classes? Now, let us go through what is valuation class. Let us run through what is valuation class. Now, before we get into the valuation class, first we will see our accounts. Now, we have different types of materials: raw materials, semi-finished, packing materials, okay, or finished material. Let us assume these are our materials. Now, what is the business expectation? It means whenever we are purchasing raw materials, 123 GL account to be triggered. Uh, and in the case of semi-finished, and in the case of packing, And in the case of finished, do you want the same GL to be triggered for all the materials, or do you want to have a separate GL for each of these materials? Material types, I would say, right? These are all my material types. Okay, so what is your requirement? Do you want a separate GL for each of these material type, or do you want only one GL irrespective of the material? Right, sometimes within the raw material you may have other situation, right? You may have the other situation, like within the raw material, within the raw material you may have something called local material and import material. Do you want a separate GL for local raw material, another GL for import raw material? What is your requirement? Or if you have semi-finished, within the semi-finished, maybe you will be procuring from outside, or maybe you will manufacturing within our organization. So do you want a separate GL for each of them? What is the requirement? Yes, if I want to have a separate GL, if I want to have a separate GL, how do I get this? How do I get this? 4, 5, 6 and 5, 6, 7. These are my, this is what my requirement. These are my cost GLs. I want these GLs to be triggered for all these material types. Then how do you get this? How do you differentiate the GLs with the help of valuation class? So basically, valuation class helps to determine what GL to be triggered. I will say here 1000 is my valuation class. Then here it is going to be 2000 valuation class. It accepts maximum of 4 digits, 3000 and 4000, finally 5000. So like that, I will enter different valuation classes, and to this valuation class, the GL will be assigned. It means we will not assign the GL direct to a material type. We will not assign any GL to a material type directly. To the material type and to the account, we require a valuation class in between. So valuation class basically differentiate the GLs. Suppose if you want to have another type of raw material, you can keep within that raw material, you can create another valuation class. That way you can track your records using that particular GL account. So valuation class will determine what GL to consider. This valuation class will be maintained in the material master. It will be maintained in the material master. Of course, you can keep as a default valuation class based on the material type, but still you have an option to enter the valuation class at the time of creating the material master. At the time of creating the material master, the valuation class will have to enter. So this valuation class will be connected to this account. Any questions on the valuation class front?
No, no, that is okay. Fine.
Right. So now valuation class, define valuation classes. Okay. Just execute here. Here we have different things. Account category reference, valuation class, material type, and account category reference. Now, the important here we have got three things. Okay, account category reference, valuation class, material type with account category reference. Okay, now let us see them. First, account category reference. Select here. So account category reference 0001 is for raw materials, 0009 for finished product. So since we are dealing with these two things, I'm just taking those two codes here. So 0001 and 0009. This is for raw material. I will say ROH, and this is my FERT. FERT is nothing but finished material. Now coming to the valuation class. What valuation class we have? Let us see. Back. Valuation class. Valuation class, what do we have? 0001. This is our account category reference, right? And to this we have valuation class. If you see here 0001, 0001, these many are there. It means for raw material, these many valuation classes available. Why do we require these? This is for local raw materials. This may be for import raw materials. This may be for raw materials received from the other plants. Stack transfers. This may be used for something else. So you can create as many valuation classes as you want based on the account category reference. So account category reference will give you what kind of the material that you want to consider on the whole. Okay, but you can have multiple valuation classes for each of the account category reference. Why do you require this? This is required to show separately in the case of raw materials. I'm just giving an example of raw materials, but even you can consider the same thing in the other material types as well. Local materials, stock transport materials, like that. Okay, so you can create multiple valuation classes. So let us consider only 3000. Let us consider 3000 is my valuation class for this, and 7920 for FERT. We can see that as well. 7920. Here you see 7920. This is the another valuation class. Someone has created this. Someone has created this. So all you need is just to go in new entries, give some code to your valuation class and account category reference. Now this account category reference is connected to our material type here. Material type with account category reference. Now if you see over here, where is our ROH, material type ROH? If you see here, ROH has 0001. ROH as 0001. And similarly, FERT will have 0009. FERT will have 0009. FERT will have 0009. What is the importance of account category reference? Suppose if you don't have account category reference, we will have to create one valuation class for one material type only. We can have one valuation class to one material type. But if I want to consider a separate GL for import raw materials or local raw materials, how do I get? I would not be able to get. In that case, I would require to create one more material type considering the relevant account category reference. That is not the right approach, because you don't require to have a separate material type for import raw materials. You don't require a separate raw material type for local materials. raw material, it's a raw material. The nature of the material is going to be the same, but only the thing is, some of the raw material you will be receiving from outside the country, some of the raw material you will be receiving within the country. That's only the difference. So you will not be creating a different material type. So all you need is to have a different valuation class. To that valuation class we will be assigning. So for that reason we have account category reference. So account category reference is basically a bridge between valuation class and material type. It is it is a bridge between valuation class and material type. Okay, so this account category reference 0009 is connected to this material type, and that way at the time of creating the any material using this material type, system first will recognize account category reference, and to this account category reference what are the valuation classes available, and based on that in the valuation class tab field you will see the relevant number of valuation classes, and you need to choose the relevant valuation class. If you are, if this is this material code is something that you are receiving from outside the country, then you will have to select the relevant valuation class. Any questions? Okay, so that's about this valuation class. This is the important step from the finance perspective. So we don't bother about what we have seen so far. We don't require what we have seen so far, but this and this are the most important, and we will have to do this configuration. We will have to do this configuration. You can see in some cases people will do this configuration, but in our this we will have to do this configuration. In order to do this configuration we have to have the complete information about this. What
Yes.
is our valuation class, what is our account category reference, what are our material types, that we will have to see. Got it?
Yes, Nanda, but that is what I was thinking about it.
Mhm.
Like, whatever, you just showed us, that is so nice of you that, you showed us. But otherwise, this does not come under the scope of the finance people,
That's
correct?
what I'm saying.
Yeah, 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 you
It
are
is
right.
not immaterial.
Yes,
It
yeah,
is immaterial for us.
exactly, exactly. That is what, I was just thinking in the back of my mind. But it is so nice that, you just taught us this. But other,
Right.
yeah. So I was, thinking, oh my God, if it is, we have to do something, this is something we have to do it, then it
Mm.
could be little, more study we need to just put it on.
Correct, correct, correct.
So only
Okay.
part, we have to concern about defined valuation classes and the configuration. Or that
Yes, this is called OBYC.
Yeah, OBYC.
This is
But what about the defined valuation class? Do really we have to pay attention to that or
exactly, exactly. So here we will be maintaining our GL accounts for
OBYC? Correct.
valuation class.
Right.
So what valuation classes are to be considered? That is what it explains.
Okay. So
So
isn't
we need,
yeah,
yeah.
like Nanda, let me ask you this. Like that when we do the OBYC, correct? We can get it. What valuation class has been used by the consultant.
No,
So
the valuation class is the combination of the GL account and whatever I think, but it has to do with the combination of GL account and something, maybe material, whatever movement type of
No,
thing.
to this valuation class, we will assign a GL for a particular transaction event key. That is what you're going to discuss in
Exactly.
configure automatic postings, OBYC.
yeah,
Let's say BSX. You might have heard about BSX.
correct.
BSX for inventory postings.
Inventory positions, right?
For a BSX, what is going to be my valuation class and what is going to be my GL account for that?
Yeah, that is correct. So valuation class, most of the time, we get it from the consultant. We just go to him and says,
That's what I'm saying.
okay,
That's what I'm saying.
right,
So in order to do this OBYC configuration, we should have a full control on this.
right. Oh, okay.
We should have full control on this.
So we should understand that part too. Define valuation
Correct,
classes. Okay.
correct, correct,
Configuration. Okay.
correct.
Okay, okay, okay.
Because why I'm saying here, if you see over here in the valuation class, 0001 is for raw material. So what are my valuation classes? 3000 or 4000, 5000? What is the code we have for this valuation class? That we need to understand, because to this valuation class only we will be assigning the GL.
Yes, correct. Valuation class is most important. Okay.
Correct. So but because of that, this step is important from the finance perspective.
Okay.
Right. So that's about the valuation class. And the next two, we will discuss these two things. Then after that, we will discuss this OBYC. Now, materials management, logistics invoice verification in incoming invoices, set check for duplicate invoices. So let's go into logistics invoice verification, incoming invoices, and set check for duplicate invoices. So system will not allow you to run the same transaction, I mean with the same purchase order two times with this duplicate invoice. So it means for a purchase order, you would be able to post only one invoice. You will not be able to post multiple invoices. Of course, you can do partial invoices, but not fully invoices two times because of this. Set check for duplicate invoices, just execute. This is mandatory transaction from the perspective. So for 2000 company code, see here you're doing it at company code level, you're not doing it at plant level or purchase organization level. This you're doing it at company code level. Check company code, check reference, whatever the reference you have, and check invoice date. These three are the parameters for setting up the duplicate, for setting up the duplicate. Okay, this is again the mandatory entry. If we don't have this, Miro transaction will give you the error message to make this thing happen. Next, the next step we have is manage materials management, logistics invoice verification, incoming invoices, maintain default values for tax codes. This is for tax codes. Maintain default values for tax codes. Here you have maintain default values for tax codes within the same path. Just execute here. And for our company code, we have one default tax code V0. V0 is a 0% tax code, right? Without that, again, you see here tax defaults in invoice verification. Without that, system will not allow us to proceed. Okay, back. So these are the steps that are required from the from the front. But the important thing is that this is important, one of you are important step, and these two are the other important step, and these two are most important steps for us. These two are most important steps from the FI perspective. Okay, of course we have seen the valuation class. Then let us see OBYC. OBYC. This is the major integration T code from between FI and MM. Okay, between FI and MM. So let's go and discuss that. So I'm going into valuation and account assignment. Okay, and account determination without wizard, and configure automatic postings. Okay, the moment you execute or here, you will have a different transaction code OMWB. OMWB. just say cancel, you will be here in this OMWB. Now I'm saying account assignment, select account assignment, you will be here in OBYC. Okay. So what you are going to do here is, first you are executing, you will get a window, it's called OMWB, and just saying cancel, and still your OMWB, select the account assignment, then you will be here in OBYC. These are all called transaction keys, transaction event keys. These are all different transaction keys. These transaction keys will be triggered automatically. These transactions will be determined, will be triggered automatically. Now, so for each of these are all the different transaction keys, and these transaction keys are important for different types of transaction from the side. May have multiple transactions. Of course, we know import purchases, right? We know purchases from outside parties, purchases from the other plant, but I mean goods delivery, right? Apart from that, we may have something else, some other transactions also. So for each of the transaction, there will be a separate transaction event key, and transaction event key will give us what is our valuation class and what is our GL account. Now let us discuss BSX, BSX inventory postings, and there is another one called WRX, GRIR, GRIR clearing account. Now, why do we require this? As we have seen in our purchase order cycle, first will be create purchase order will be created, and the next we will do goods receipt, right? This is called MyGo. The transaction code is MyGo. What entry do we have during debit inventory and credit GRIR clearing account? And during our invoice receipt, debit will be GRIR clearing and credit going to be vendor. Now, this vendor anyways, we will get it from the purchase order, but how do you get this GRIR and this GRIR, this inventory? And firstly, why do we require a GRIR? So normally in our finance, if you don't have SAP, normally what we do, we will do a debit we will say inventory, credit we will say vendor. We don't use this GRIR clearing account at all in between. This is a clearing account and it is an open item managed account. GRIR clearing account is the open item managed account. Now, so we will have to create those GLs. But the point here is, why do we require this GRIR clearing account in between? Why do we require two separate transactions, right? The thing is, what is the reason behind to have a GRIR clearing account? So we receive the materials. As soon as we receive the material, it does not mean that we are we are due. I mean, some amount is due for this vendor. There is some due amount against this vendor. It does not mean that. Why? The moment we receive a material, let's say we have ordered 1,000 units, we got 1,000 units. But before we take the material into our plant, we will have to verify whether the material is up to the mark of the quality, whether that particular material is usable in our plant. We will have to verify that, right? Out of 1,000 materials, 200 materials are not good in condition. It means we cannot use them. So what we will do, we will return them back. We will return to the vendor. We will return to the vendor. So out of 1,000, we are returning 200. So it will be 800. Now we will get an invoice receipt for 800 only. We will not get for total 1,000 units, because out of 1,000 we have returned 200 units. So once we confirm that we are returning 200 units, then we will be receiving the invoice receipt for 800 units only. Suppose we have received 1,000 units and all 1,000 units are good, we will be confirming the vendor that 1,000 units are good, then he will send across the invoice for 1,000 units.
Nanda,
Yes.
let's assume that out of 1,000 goods and eight has been received and invoice has been posted for that.
Sorry.
If
So there is some disturbance.
okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I said, how about if you have 1,000 goods and
Uh,
only 800 being delivered,
okay.
and the 800 good receipts and invoice has been posted for that.
Okay.
So if they now realize that they have 200 left, what should they do in that?
No, no. See, that is the reason why we have two different transactions. So when you are receiving the goods, your responsibility to check whether the quantity, whatever order we got the same quantity, or sometimes we may get less quantity, right? Sometimes we may get less quantity. So out of 1,000 units, say let's say we have received only 600 units, so we will have to post 600 units transaction over here, and if at all we are receiving invoice, we will have to receive only for 600 invoice. Or sometimes what happens is, we will receive in the first installment, we will receive 600 units, we will post goods receipt for 600 units, again we will receive another goods receipt for the remaining 400 units. Now earlier we have received 600, we have got 600, now 400, now total 1,000. So we will be receiving the next invoice is 1,000. So it's our responsibility to check whether the quantity is meeting what we have ordered, whether the quality is meeting what we are expecting. Once we confirm on the goods receipt, then only the vendor will send the invoice. Got it?
Hey, Nanda, what happens? Suppose sometime you may get invoice earlier than the goods received. Like
You can do
I
that.
have,
You have that option only in the case of import invoices, not in the local invoices. You
yeah.
will not get, you will not get invoice. See, what is the important, what is the meaning of invoice? It means once we confirm, then only the vendor will send across the invoice. He will not send across the invoice first. After that, he will not send the materials. How can the due amount will arise without receiving the material?
No import invoice for in case of
Or
the
in the case of import invoice, why do we get the first invoice? Because in order to clear the stock is at our port, and in order to clear the stock from the port, first we will have to pay the amount.
Hmm.
So that is the invoice. It means the physical stock is at the port. To receive the goods, we will have to pay the amount. So we will be paying the amount. I mean, we will be posting the invoice and we will be clearing the amount. Then we will be receiving the stock. So
So
that invoice, what is that invoice? It is not the invoice of the material. It is the invoice of the port duties, not the material invoice.
hmm.
It is not the material invoice. We will have the port people, right? Port people will give you some invoice to pay the amount to take the material.
Hmm.
They maybe the storage place or maybe something, their charges. So for that we will receive an invoice, we will post invoice, we will make the payment to the invoice, then the customs people will allow us to take the material. Then we will be receiving the material. Once we receive the material, we will check, we will see the quantity and we will confirm the vendor. Then vendor will send across the invoice.
Okay. And in case of, that sometime vendor is asking for advance payment for the goods.
That is a different. We have
So that is
seen that already.
altogether
That
different.
we
That
have
is a
seen.
down
Yeah,
payment.
we have seen that already in our finance. The
Right, down
same.
payment.
Yeah, down payment
Correct.
that we have already seen.
Correct.
Right. So that's about the invoice. Now, in order to get this inventory account triggered, we need a transaction key called BSX. And for GRIR, WRX, these are the transaction keys, transaction event keys or transaction keys, whatever the name we can call. So these are the transaction keys are important. So the transaction key has to have the relevant valuation class and the relevant GL account. So that is what we will be looking at here. Now, before we get into that, we will have to create the relevant GLs, but let me show you that. Inventory postings, just double click on this. It will ask you for the chart of accounts 1248, and here you need to have valuation modifier and valuation class. So valuation modifier is a different concept that we will discuss during our front end. We can understand that part, or we can do that tomorrow. Then valuation class, why do we require a valuation class? Valuation class is required in order to have a different GL accounts for different material types. So irrespective of the material type, if I want to consider only one GL, then we don't require this valuation class to be selected. If you don't select and if you just say as accounts, you will have, I'm saving it. And if you see here, only one GL you will be entering, whether you are purchasing raw material, packing material, semi-finished, whatever the material that you are purchasing, all will go and sit into this GL account. So tomorrow, if you want to know the details of the raw material purchases, packing material purchases, you would not be able to get that. So a lot of filters to be maintained in order to get that information. That's a cumbersome job. So to avoid that, we have this concept called valuation class. So select valuation class now, save it, and you see here valuation class and account. So you will be maintaining the account based on the valuation class. So here, if you select over here, you can see whatever the valuation classes that are there, all would come here. And among them, we are using 3000 and 7920. So we will have to select 3000 here and 7920. We will have to enter the relevant GL here. So this 3000 valuation class will be maintained in the material master. While creating the material master, we will be entering the valuation class. So this valuation class, since this valuation class is there in the material master 3000 raw material, so while creating the raw material master, we will enter this 3000. And if we consider the same material master in the purchase order cycle, during the goods receipt, since this valuation class has 3000, whatever the GL we have, the same GL will be triggered. Any questions?
No, Nanda.
Okay, right. So let us create GLs and come back here. FS00 1,20,000 we have considered. So let me consider 1,50,000. Okay, it is going to be a balance sheet GL. It is going to be an asset for us. Then I will say raw material. Okay, then control data here. This is fine. I mean, account currency is going to be USD, and here this is not going to be a reconciliation account. This is not at all a reconciliation. And tax category, I will say star. Star means it will take care of both input and output. Post without tax allowed. Okay, next. Here sort key is our important thing. 001. This cannot be a open item managed account. This cannot be a open item managed account. Create and bank. You can see field status group. Field status group for inventory, you have one separate field status group. 006 for material accounts. There is another one for consumption adjustment account. There is one more thing. Changes.
G025.
25.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is another one. There is one more thing. Yeah, material consumption. Here you have Z003. This is for consumption accounts and this is for material accounts. When you are procuring and when you are delivering, this material group is required. And in the case of consumption accounts, it means profit and loss account GLs, this is required. So Z006. And important point in the case of materials is we need to select post automatic only. It means this GL should not be considered for manual postings. Why do we require in the case of material? Every month, what we will do is we will have to reconcile between MM and FI. What is the value there in MM side and what is the value there in finance side? If these two don't match, we will have to sit and reconcile them. If you don't select this post automatically, maybe you will be posting some transactions directly in finance, right? All those transactions will be posted in finance, but it will not get updated in MM side. So you will have a reconciliation problem. Then you need to figure out what are the transactions posted directly in finance. Then that is a problem. And the important thing is we should not be using this GL in any areas except MM. So for that reason, we will be considering post automatically. Clear? Just save. And similarly, I will create one more for finished materials. I'm just copying everything. All I need is just change the description. Okay, all I just need is to change the description. Properties are going to be the same. That's it. Next we have is GRIR clearing account. So GRIR clearing account is normally maintained under the liabilities. So I will say 1,50,000. Sorry, it is 2 lakhs, I think, right? Yeah, 2,50,000. So I will say here it is a balance sheet account. Account group going to be liabilities, and I will say GRIR clearing account. Then control data, I will say USD here, and I can say here also taxes without allowed, and here I will say open item managed account and sort key going to be 001. And in the create bank interest, I can say Z001. This is general. Save it. So 2 lakh 50, 1 lakh 50 over here, and 1 lakh 51 over here. 1 lakh 55, 1 lakh 50, 1 lakh 55, 2 lakh 50. The same we will consider here in the OPYC. So for 3000, I will say 1 lakh 50,000, and for this I will say 1 lakh 55,000. Okay, so in the case of raw material, this GL will be triggered. In the case of finished material, this will be triggered. Just to save it. Or if at all you have any other valuation classes, you can do that. Okay, just to save. Back. Now similarly, we will select WRX. Again, in the case of WRX, you have the same option. Do you want to consider separate GRIR clearing account for each type of the material, or you want to consider one for all these? How do you want to consider? If you want to have a separate, then you will have to do it by valuation class, or if you want, see here, valuation class. If you want to do for valuation class, by valuation class, you will have to select, otherwise no need. And if you want to have debit items one GL account, for credit items another GRIR account, then you can do. So normally we don't do anything because WRX, we don't have to worry about this. That is not important for us. So we don't select anything. Just save here. In the accounts, we will maintain our GL account 2,50,000. Save it. Okay. Now we are considering only two BSX and WRX. We are considering at the moment, and there is another one called GBB, which is very, very important from us, from the finance perspective. So I'm not going to maintain any other accounting determinations. Whenever we have in product costing, we will get issue, then we will understand the importance of that. We will come back here and we will maintain. So at a particular transaction, we will see a particular error, and you will understand the importance of that, and we will come back and we will maintain over here. Does it sound good?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so that you will also understand why do we require within GBB, we require AUF, those kind of things. Why do we, what is the importance of all of them? So you will understand more details here in the documentation. This documentation is very important for us. If I just select here, you will have the entire information. If you go down, yeah, here you will see all the transaction keys are coming up here. So BSX, now you see here BSX. This transaction is used for all postings to stock accounts. Such postings are affected, for example, inventory management. All this information is there. Now GBB is the most important part for us. GBB, you see here. Why do we require AUF? When do we require AUA, AUI, BSA, INV, VAX? This is again one of the important that we will be discussing, VAX and VAY in our sales order costing scenario. Okay, so you will understand more clearly when we are posting the transactions. So you will get an error, we will see the error, what it is asking, then we will maintain. It will be easy for you to for you to remember. So instead of I just maintain them, and if you run the transaction, you will not understand the importance of those. So for that reason, I'm just keeping them aside, and I will maintain when we have an error. So that's about OBYC settings. So why do we require this OBYC settings? As we discussed, the MM transaction, MM will have, uh, where did I maintain? Okay, I don't think we have here. That's fine. So MM will have purchase order creation, goods receipt, and invoice receipt. Normally, the I mean, basically the MIGO transaction will be done by the MM people. So the entry going to be material and credit GRIR clearing account. So how does since this transaction is happening from MM side, MM people don't know which GL to consider. So the system has to propose this GL. So that is the reason why OBYC came into picture. So in OBYC, we maintain all the account determination, and at the time of posting MIGO, these particular GLs will be triggered automatically. These particular GLs will be picked up automatically. Now, even in the case of Myro, people, most of the business FI people will do, but in some organization, MM people will do. So in this case, GRIR clearing account and credit vendor account. So here also, if it is MM person, then he does not know which GL to consider here. So it will propose automatically. And finally, we will do a vendor payment. This is purely a finance transaction, debit vendor and credit bank. This, since it is happening from finance side, we will pick up which vendor to consider and which bank to consider, and accordingly we will be posting, because we know from a finance perspective, we know which bank account to consider, right? So that way, since it is a finance transaction, that way this is going to be our manual transaction. We will be picking up the relevant bank account. Got it? Right. So this is what the configuration that we have seen. So let us go and create one material master. Okay. So to create a material master, the transaction code is MM01. That is there here in the logistics, materials management, purchasing. No, not here. Master data, material master we have here. Okay. Materials, create. This is special. Don't know what for we use, but we will use the general one. Okay. It's the same, but probably some other fields come up maybe. So now create general. MM01 is a transaction code. Path for this is easy access, logistics, materials management, right? Material master, material, create general, MM01 immediately. MM01. Just enter into this. Here, material code. Do you want to consider material code internal or external? If you don't select anything, it picks up from the internal. Industry, you can select your industry. These kind of industries we have, I will just say pharmaceutical. Now, what is the material type? We are considering raw materials. So pick up the raw materials. Here we have different terms. In the regular system, you can have only one. So this will create unnecessary confusion, which one to consider. So we will have to go back and we will have to change that accordingly. Let us see raw materials. finished product we have. So yeah, here also you see raw material. There are three. Which one to select? We are not sure. So what we will do, we will go back here and we will maintain something over there. So logistics general, material types here, define attributes for material types. This is us, right? I'm just giving some code so that we can easily recognize over there. Okay, again I'm selecting now. This time I can easily recognize. So why this is not coming up here? Okay, this is not the one. Okay, let us see now. I'm not understanding why it's not coming up here. Okay, let me go back and let me enter again. MM01. So I'm selecting it as a pharmaceutical. Let me select now material type. Yeah, we got now. So raw material 1248, select the same thing, press enter. Here we will get a window. We will get a window. We will have different tabs from the materials side. So we need to select what are the tabs that you are required. You need to select and you can enter. You see here, basic data one, basic data two. Since it is a purchases, right? So we need to have purchasing tab. With the raw material, if you are selling, you need to select the sales as well. If you are selling the raw material also, then if since we are buying it, we have to select only the purchasing. Purchase order text if you want to have MRP for manufacturing. So you can select MRP 1, 2, 3, 4. Of course, we will discuss MRP things clearly during our PP side. General plant storage 1, storage 2, accounting 1, 2, costing 1, 2. These four are important from the finance perspective. From the finance perspective, these four are important. From the plant perspective, these two are important. And from the manufacturing perspective, these are important. Since we are buying, this is important. Basic is for everything.
What about
Okay.
warehouse?
Warehouse, if you have warehouse management, you require warehouse management. If you have quality and quality management, another module, then you will have require that. Okay, that's it. So now just enter, continue. you will have those many windows here. We have got all the windows, and the moment you press on, you will be moving on to the next classification. Sale we have not selected. Now you see the importance. So the description, you see the internal number, it is an internal number 6. Okay, description, I will say raw materials 1248. Now what is the base unit of measure? I will say each. What is our material group? Material group is important for the reporting purpose. So you can choose the relevant material group. What happened to the standard one? I think this is not a standard one. Not sure. Okay, let us see. Let me take 01. Okay, let me take 01. Okay, the other things, right? If at all you have any gross weight, net weight, I mean, in the case of purchasing, you will have some 10 units, but when you want to consume, it will evaporate something, or it will go. In such a case, we will take that. Okay, and this thing is important, item category group, that will come to know during our product costing, that we will see later. I mean, this is one of the important part from the sales and distribution perspective. We will discuss that part during our product costing. Next, basic data 2. I mean, I'm not going to select. The moment when I'm here, if I enter press, it will take me to the basic data 2. Here, if at all you need to enter something, you can enter, but from the finance perspective, we require only the 4 tabs. Now I'm pressing enter. It is taking me directly to the purchasing. Ignored all my sales because I've not selected them, right? So here, base unit of measure is this thing, order unit. You can enter something. I'll say each or something. How do you order? I'll say each here also. Metal group. Next, that import purchase order text. I have not selected all of them. Alternative unit of measure is same as the base unit of measure. Okay, so we will select here kg, and 1 kg equals to 1 point or 2 units, 2 eaches. Okay, that's it. Now after purchasing, we will be jumping onto the plant and storage one. Here we will have to enter there is nothing important for us here in plant and storage one. Let us see the second one. Gross weight, net weight, volume, that part, that is fine. Press enter. What happened to that? Why these have not been selected? Okay, okay. 1 second. Let me go here in this raw material. I'm selecting raw material. Coming out from this, selecting raw materials, going into details. Here, raw materials, these many have been selected, but why those are not coming? These are the different tabs selected. These are the different tabs selected. That's fine. That's perfect. But why it is not coming? Okay, let us see now. Let me select them manually. Oh, MRP tabs also did not come earlier. Let us see now. Raw material, see, number is getting changed. Base unit of measure, material group, then basic data 2, nothing. And here I have an option to select, go to the relevant purchasing. There is nothing to select here. I can say cage, alternative unit of measure. I'll say 1 kg is 2 inches. Okay, there is nothing here. I can choose here, go to the relevant MRP1 tab. Now here it is expecting the plant and storage location. Yes, I'm selecting the selecting our plant. Our plant is 1248 and storage location where you are going to keep this material once you receive. I want to keep it in this storage location. MRP profile, there is nothing, fine. Just enter, must be set to productive for valuation area. Okay, so material ledger, this is a new concept here in S4. Material ledger should be active at a plant level. At a plant level, by default, it will be there, but I don't understand why it is expecting here. By default, material ledger is active at a plant level. Now here, actual costing, material ledger. Assign material ledger first. We will discuss these things a little later, but material ledger type, which is the standard one? Not sure. Okay, that's fine. Assign material ledger type to valuation class. Our valuation class is 1248. The record is not over here. So I will copy it. I can go into new entries or I can just copy it because material ledger type, I don't know. Okay, fine. Valuation area is 1248 and material ledger type, I will say 9000. That is the one available. I'm just selecting. Save it. Okay, back. We will discuss this part little later. Active material ledger for valuation area. This is important for us. Activate material ledger. Material ledger. So here it is 1248. I'm saying material ledger active. Okay. Then price determination. Um, I'm just putting something here too. We will discuss that part little later. After activating material ledger, live data must be converted. Yes. We will discuss what is material ledger that later, not at the moment. So what is price determination? What is price binding? That we will see little later. So by default, I think it has to be available, but I'm not sure why it is so. That's what I'm heard. But anyways, let us see. Let us come back to Metal Master, Presenter. Again, we will have to do from the beginning, MM01, Presenter, basic data 2, MRP 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Next is general data, accounting 1, 2, costing 1, 2. So material number is now changed. zero one basic data. There is
Ananda,
nothing.
so what happened about the material, like 6, 7, 8,
It
that?
will come up again. It will come up again because there is nothing here. It is, I mean, 6 and 7, s- whatever we have considered earlier, right? I mean, are you talking about the earlier material
Yes,
number?
correct. That because we did
Seven,
not
eight,
save it.
7, 8. It's stored. I mean, statistically, some data is stored that will get released after some time.
Okay.
Then MRP1 plant is 1248. Storage location is also 1248. Press enter. We have selected this new valuation has been created in S4 system. It is required to activate material ledger via transaction code. Afterward, it needs to be set product to via CKM start. System conversion of SAP ERP that is not required. Why it is expecting this? SAP note has this information. Okay, I think let me just go through it and we can continue, because I cannot just go and do that because I need to understand what exactly mentioned there in SAP note. Let me just read all these. By default, it will be activated, but I'm not sure why it is so, why it is expecting. It is 1809 system. So probably some changes might have happened here in 1809. So let me go through this SAP note and we will continue tomorrow. I
Eh,
think we have already activated this part. Probably we may have to CKM start in order to proceed, but I still need to understand.
Okay, Nanda,
Uh-huh.
sorry, I want to go pick my family from church. So maybe
Right.
I
Yeah,
will
yeah.
continue
I
from.
think I think we can close at the moment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this step is completed already.
All right.
So we have completed, only we have not done is CKM start. Let us see that. OMX3.
So am I free to go?
Yes, please.
All right.
I'll stop after this.
Okay. Naresh, I'll call
yeah.
you when I come back.
Okay.
Let me pick them from church.
All right.
Thank you.
So this is also done. We have completed this one also. The last one is OMX1. This is the activation. This is for the activation. This is also done. So we have completed all of them and we need to do CKM start. This we have not done. So probably that could be the reason why it is asking. Normally CKM start we will do once every configuration is completed from the material ledger perspective. But anyways, let us see that. That will be there here in the material ledger. Product to cost controlling, actual costing and material ledger, actual costing, CKM start. CKM start. We will have to do this again once we complete the configuration. So, but I'm not understanding why it is asking. Earlier also we used to do this, but this transaction used to be the last transaction after we complete the configuration from the material ledger. But it is asking now in S4, and I'm not sure in the earlier version it was the case. But anyways, let's do this. CKM start, easy access, accounting, controlling, product to cost controlling, actual costing and material ledger, and environment, production startup, CKM start. Just enter here. Our plant is 1248. That's fine. Immediately after period change, parameters, I'm running it in the real mode. I don't want to do that in the background. First we will do in the this thing. Okay, just execute in the real mode. There is nothing, there is no error at all. Removing the test run, execute. Can be reconciled. Now this is done. Let us see, let us go back and do the material master again. Let us see. mm01, press enter, basic data 1 2, mrp 1 2 3 4, plant 1 2, accounting 1 2, costing 1 2. Okay, I will say raw material, basic data 2. Next we have is purchasing. There is nothing above. Okay, purchasing is done. If you want, you can maintain an alternative unit of measure. Then I will say MRP1, plant, storage location, press enter. It is allowing me now. MRP type, MRP type, ND, I will say no planning at the moment. MRP planning is required in the case of sales order costing that we will see later. MRP group, there is no value here. That's fine. Okay, MRP2 now. Here, backflash, special procurement key. Procurement type should be F. F for external procurement. Raw material will be procured always from outside. Okay, because of that, it says as F. In the case of finished product, it should be E. Or you can select X. If you select X, this material can be manufactured internally, or you can produce from outside. No, sorry, you can procure it from outside. Okay, E just to use in the case of finished product if you are manufacturing within the organization. If you are procuring any metal outside, you need to select this. If a material has both of these activities, then select X. Normally we should select X, but I don't understand why it is grayed out. It is not allowing us to change. That's fine. I'll figure that out. Perfect. So MRP3, and here strategic group is one of the important for our this thing, what do you call, uh, make to order scenario that we will see later. Availability check, daily requirement, I will say. PP people will give us more information on this. Production planning people will give us more information on MRP tabs. So if at all you have any scrap that you will be entering, that's fine. Plant 1 2 now. Plant 1 2. Even if you don't have anything, but it is required to select this and move on. Plant 2 now. Gross weight, net weight, nothing here. Then we will select accounting 1 tab now. Accounting 1, here valuation class. Okay. Now since material ledger is active, you can see here, 3 tabs. You can see 3 tabs. So current period, previous period, last period of the last fiscal year. Now here see valuation class. This valuation class is important. So for this raw material or account category reference is 0001, and 0001 is assigned to multiple valuation classes, right? And 0001 is assigned to ROH. So we are creating the raw material using ROH, and ROH as 0001 as account category reference. This 0001 has multiple valuation classes. Once you select here, you will get that list. These are the valuation classes that have these all these valuation classes linked to the account category reference. You can see it over here in the configuration. In the material management, if you see over here in the valuation area, valuation classes execute. Now you see here valuation class 0001. There is one here, there is another one here. Again, you have got three more here. So three over here, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 10 altogether. You can see 10 records over here. You have 10 records. So the one what is important for us, you will have to select the one because it is a testing system. You can see multiple valuation classes, but in the standard will have these four only. 3000, 3001, 2, 3. So I'm selecting 3000 because we have maintained the GL determination for 3000 only. We have not maintained for 3001 and all other. So that you can see here in the OBYC. In BSX, if you see here BSX, press enter, you can see for 3000 only. If you take other than this 3000, system will throw up an error at the time of goods receipt. So select the relevant valuation class here. Currency is going to be this, and here this material ledger is active by default based on our setting. And price determination, this is again a material ledger concept, transaction based or single level, multi-level. Normally we will be using multi-level this thing, but it is not important at the moment. If you want, you can go ahead whatever you want. Now here, this is a standard price, okay, and here price per unit, all you can see. Now price control, this thing is very important for us. There are two price control, V and S. S for standard price, V for moving average price. Let's discuss about V part now. What V says, what V talks about. Let's say I'm procuring 100 units at the rate of 10. What is going to be my value? 1000. What is my per unit value? 1000 values. Okay, let me just show you the other way. I'll say units price total per unit value. Okay, first I have procured 100 units at $10. Total it is 1000. How do you get per unit? Total value divided by number of units, you will get per unit. Now next time what I have done, I have procured another 100 units. This time $20, it's going to be 2000. Now what is the total cumulative value we will take? Now it is 1000, earlier 1000, this time 2000, total is 3000. This 3000 divided by total units. How many units are there? 100 earlier, 100 now, total 200. This is what my per unit. Now when I'm procuring another 200 units with 20, so what will be the value? It is 4000. Now it is going to be 7000. So 7000 divided by What is the total unit? Here it is 400. Select 400. This is what my per unit. This is called moving average price. Now after this, if you want to issue any material, what is the price that it will consider? It will consider the latest rate. If you are issuing after these three receipts, then issue rate going to be 17. If you are issuing after two receipts, then the issue rate going to be 15. Okay, so the latest moving average price will be considered while issuing the raw material to the production. Okay, that is what moving average price talks about. So we have moving average price for raw materials. So standard price is selected for all the semi-finished and finished products. If you are procuring the finished product from outside, then in that case we will have to select V only. We will have to select V only. Okay, even if you are procuring the finished material from outside, you need to select moving average price V only. Got it? Right. Now here previous period, if at all you have any data, you can do that. You cannot change the price control indicator. Of course, we are not changing anything here. Okay. Then here, who is changing? Okay. So 3000 and period 3, it is stopping it here only. It is not allowing me to take further. Okay, what I will do, I'll just say. So the other three fields are also important, but it is not allowing us to save. MM01, let me take again. So basic data 1, 2, MRP 1, 2, 3, 4, plant 1, 2, accounting 1, 2, costing 1, 2, enter. Okay, I'm selecting something over here. Basic data 2, there is nothing. Purchasing, there is nothing to take. Plant 1, 2. Okay, then MRP 1, 2. Oh, MRP is missed. Okay, so MRP control, no planning. MRP 2, MRP 3, availability check, daily check. MRP 4. Okay, then plant data 1, 2. Then we will select accounting 1 tab, and I will say valuation class is 3000. Press enter. Yeah, it is now allowing. Okay, but that's fine. We are not going to enter any value because this value will come up based on the purchases. Press enter. Recalculated. Now if you see over here, it's the previous period and the other period is this thing. Okay, now accounting 2 tab, there is nothing here. Costing 1 tab, and here base unit without quantity structure. All This you will come to know here in the product costing. And the profit center that we are considering is, what is the profit center that is there? Take that one, 2000. And here we will get some more, but not sure why we need to have some more other fields. That's fine. Go to costing to tab. This is important for product costing. There is a concept called standard cost estimation. This is important during that time. Okay, so that's it. The assignment of profit center is important. This profit center field is there in the plant and sales areas, but we did not find in the plant. In the plant, we should be having this profit center field somewhere. There are three areas where you will have to enter a profit center. You have an option to enter profit center. Oh, here we have. We did not see. In plant, you have profit center, and you have in sales organization fields you have, right? I think you have it in two. You will have it in two profit center field. You need to enter profit center field in any of these three. Without entering the profit center, then your reports will go for a task. So whatever the transactions you are doing for this, since the profit center is not updated or here, so it will go and sit in the dummy. Then again, that's a problem to trace them back. Okay, so we have updated all the fields, and you just save it. Material will be created 11. Okay, now if you want to change, you can change. If at all you want to change, you can change. You can change what are the fields that you want to change. Okay, if you want to display all, you can also display them. MM02 for change, MM03 for display. Okay, so that's about the material. Okay, so thanks everyone. Just go through the recording. Thanks. Bye.